All right. Good morning and welcome to the Florida State Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Latin Quarter West Palm Beach Teletown Hall meeting with our VIP guest speaker, State Representative Mr. David Silvers, District 87. Bienvenidos a todos al Barrio Latino y la Cámara de Comercio Hispana del Estado de la Florida con el representante estatal, el señor David Silvers, del Distrito 87. Representative Silver's presentation today is very important to our community at this time, and we want to thank him for taking the time to care. Moving forward, we also want to thank Dina Rubio from the Latin Quarter of West Palm Beach for all her commitment, dedication, and service to our community, El Barrio Latino. Also with us today is Rafael Amaro, TV host of the program Mesa Caliente, who will be taking notes as he will be preparing a special televised report on this town hall meeting. My name is Laz Moore. I am the co-founder of the Latin Quarter of West Palm Beach and former chair of the Florida State Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, also known as FSHCC. FSHCC actively promotes the economic growth and development of Hispanic entrepreneurs and represents over 600,000 Hispanic-owned businesses across the state, which together contribute in excess of $90 billion to Florida's economy each year. And now help me welcome the President and CEO of the Florida State Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and one of the most influential, politically influential individuals in Florida, as quoted in the Influence magazine, Mr. Julio Fuentes.
Hey, thank you, Laz. Thank you, Rafael and Representative David Silvers for hosting this town hall meeting together with us here at the Florida State Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and of course, want to thank Latin Quarters, one of our strong partners here in Palm Beach County. First and foremost, I mean, wishing everyone out there health, staying close with families. There's not much to say along those lines because I'm sure day in and day out we're just hearing kind of the same message, and but we must remain positive. One of the things that we've been doing at the Florida State Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is kind of obviously assisting our small business community. And when I say small business as described by the Small Business Administration is 500 employees or less. But we have been laser focused on those 20, 15, 10 employees or less, making sure that they are applying for the PPP loan that's available to all small businesses, because I've been hearing way too many entrepreneurs out there that have mom and pop shops, 2-3-man shops, that feel that this is not money that's available to them, and that's not a true statement. So encouraging everyone out there to make sure that you log on. If I could give a plug, they're not a sponsor or a trustee of PayPal, but seems like PayPal has been getting some great reviews, and I've known personally some businesses that have executed their PPP loan through PayPal. So there are other vehicles out there as well. So encourage everyone to stay positive. Obviously, we're here for you. You could reach out to me, email or a phone call. We try and maintain a steady stream of communications via social media, and of course through our email database that we have. But I want to have the pleasure here of introducing a friend and a true leader for our community, and that's State Representative David Silvers, who was born in Miami Beach, Florida, and received his BS and BA from the University of Florida in 2001. Go Gators. He went on to his MBA from the University of Miami. Go Hurricanes. Silver's career experience includes being executive in cable, e-commerce, and publishing. In addition to many volunteering opportunities that he does in our community, he volunteers with Meals on Wheels and Helping Hands, as well as many others. But again, in these trying times that we find ourselves in, we always look for leadership. And without a doubt, Representative David Silvers has been nonstop and available to us here at the chamber when we have any questions for him. So I really appreciate your leadership, and everyone, Representative David Silvers.
Hola, gracias, El Barrio Latino. First off, I'd like to a little heartfelt thank you to Julio. That was a very lovely introduction. Thank you. Go Gators. I'd also like to thank Lasmer and all of Latin Quarter for hosting today's event. I think it's extremely important that we have as many of these Zoom meetings or events as possible to get the word out and to get information out to the public. Just earlier this morning, I was talking with Julio, and you mentioned to me some questions that someone had brought up to you, and the information's out there. It's been out there for quite a while. So and regarding testing. So that's something that I'm happy to go over a little further along in this presentation. But I want to really emphasize for those that are in attendance online to practice social distancing, good hygiene, gotta wash those hands, face masks if possible, and please stay safe. It may not be your life. It could be a loved one's life that could be saved as a result of that. So just be safe out there. We're here for you, whether it's my office here in West Palm Beach, or if you live down in Delray and you're attending online via Delray, there's a state representative or state senator's office there to help. And we're here to help as well. If you don't live in the West Palm Beach area, please reach out to my office. We'll be happy to help. But I'm here to give you a legislative update for what happened during the legislative session, this past session, as well as a COVID-19 update. I'm going to be picking and choosing, I guess I have to, because I don't want to take up all your time, of what happened just during this past session. There was some very good legislation that passed. We had, surprisingly, one of the largest budgets in the history of the state of Florida passed this year unanimously, which I've never seen in my first 4 years in the legislature. I have a feeling that the budget is going to be reduced by a certain amount eventually. I don't see how the COVID-19 impact does not impact our overall budget. So it's a wait and see approach right now. We haven't heard of we had a poll taken for a special session to address the budget and whatever shortfalls could occur because of COVID-19, but there were not enough members that voted in favor of it. I did vote in favor of having a special session to address the COVID-19 shortfalls. So let me go back to this, what happened this past session. I was able to get several pieces of legislation passed, and I'm very proud of the fact that when I first was elected in 2016, I made mental health one of my main priorities. In my first 3 years prior to this year, I passed 3 pieces of legislation that really focused on mental health for minors, and I continue that on this year as well. I passed HB 945, which is called Children's Mental Health. It seeks to limit the use of crisis inpatient services by children and enhance the effectiveness of our current community services for children. It focuses on 3 areas: mobile response teams, the coordination of children's system of care, and crisis stabilization services. The bill addresses some recommendations from DCF and the Marjory Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Commission. See, the Public Safety Commission, or the Marjory Stoneman Douglas bill in 2018, as you know, as a result of the mass shooting and the tragedy at Marjory Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, they created in this legislation mobile response teams. These are teams that are sent out to schools to de-escalate situations so that there's less likelihood for children to be Baker Acted. Now, if a child needs to be Baker Acted, that should probably be the last resort. You don't want to use that as the first step. And the Baker Act Reporting Center at the University of South Florida, at the Florida Mental Health Institute in Tampa, the reports were coming back that they're constantly, or at least schools, were moving towards a Baker Act to initiate any type of healthcare for a mental health issue or a mental health event at school. It's very traumatic to be Baker Acted. So I worked with staff, house staff, in order to formulate this policy to help de-escalate those situations and to reduce the amount of traumatic experiences for children across our state. So it also, what was really important, obviously reducing the traumatic impact to children statewide. I think what's also extremely important to the legislation is that it requires DCF and the Agency for Healthcare Administration, otherwise known as AHCA, to create a system of coordination of care. In the past, they hadn't been coordinating. You would think that the Department of Children and Families and AHCA all these years would be coordinating with each other when it comes to a child who may age out of the system, but that's not the case. Moving forward, they are. And to have the Secretary of DCF, Chad Popple, and Secretary Mayhew for AHCA in my office telling me that they were thrilled with the language, that they can't wait to coordinate care with each other was really, it was very humbling. And I was so happy to hear that from these new secretaries. They had just been appointed to those positions relatively recently. So, with the new leadership in those departments or in those agencies, I think the system, the future looks bright, and I'm really happy about that. Now, I have, even though mental health has been a focus of mine, it hasn't been the only issue that I've been focusing on the last couple of years. I passed criminal justice reform a couple of years ago, education reform a year before that. This year, I went on to affordable housing, and I was able to get language from HB 1459, which was the bill I filed, amended into another bill, a commerce bill, that the term affordable housing under statute 420.9071 would be granted to housing provided by a nonprofit organization that derives at least 75% of its annual revenues from contracts or services provided to a state or federal agency for low-income individuals and low-income households that provide supportive housing for persons who suffer from mental health issues, substance abuse, or domestic violence, and that provides an on-premise social and community support services. So the key issue here is, or the key terminology here is the supportive housing. Being able to get supportive housing to be recognized as affordable housing, and so we could have more affordable housing statewide and maybe reduce some red tape in getting affordable housing in areas all throughout our state, I think is extremely important. And representing a district as I do in District 87, affordable housing, workforce housing is extremely important. And I'm just happy to have been able to get that language on and pass through. Onto domestic violence injunctions, HB 241. A lot of people would be surprised that this is a big issue in our state. This bill authorizes a court issuing a domestic violence injunction to award the petitioner the exclusive care, possession, or control of an animal that the petitioner, excuse me, the respondent, or a minor child residing in the home of either party owns, possesses, harbors, keeps, or holds, except an animal owned primarily for a bona fide agricultural purpose or service animal, if the respondent is a service animal's handler. The order the respondent to have no contact with the animal and prohibit the respondent from taking, transferring, encumbering, concealing, harming, or otherwise disposing of the animal. Now, basically in layman's terms, HB 241 allows the family pet to go with the petitioner when there's any type of domestic violence involved. We were getting a lot of stories in Tallahassee of people that were staying in abusive relationships out of fear that the respondent or the person that would be the alleged abuser was threatening to harm or even kill a family pet. And after I filed the legislation, I had several members of the House of Representatives actually come up to me and thank me for filing it, because they had gone through some issues personally, whether it was them personally or it was their children had been in abusive relationships. And it kind of was very eye-opening. And that someone would actually stay in an abusive relationship out of fear. You don't want to see anything happen to a family pet. They become a part of the family, and some people, it can become very emotional. This legislation, once it's signed into law by the governor, would hopefully give those people that are in fear, get rid of that fear, and they'll be able to protect that animal, that family pet. And then finally, HB 813, protection of vulnerable investors. This requires securities dealers, investment advisors, and associated persons to report knowledge or suspicion of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of a vulnerable adult to DCF. It authorizes dealers and investment advisors to delay certain disbursements or transactions based on a reasonable belief of financial exploitation of a specified adult. It requires dealer or investment advisor to notify certain persons and OFR of such delays within a specified time frame. So basically what this is saying is if you have somebody who maybe it looks like they're being taken advantage of financially, you can delay some of those transactions, and this would allow those securities individuals, those dealers, to delay them so that they can be properly vetted. And we were also hearing stories of my grandmother didn't know what or my grandfather was being taken advantage of by maybe an investor or somebody came to them with an opportunity and basically drained their life savings. And there's probably, before this happened, before COVID-19, the pandemic, I don't think a lot of people were realizing that this was a really big issue here in the state of Florida. We have a significant population over 25% over 65 or 75. And this had been a big issue in the state of Florida. And once HB 813 is signed into law by the governor, by the way, the governor has not signed any bills. Supposedly only maybe a handful of bills right at the end of session, but I've been in constant contact with the governor's office, and he will not be signing any bills until beginning of June at the earliest, from what I've been told. He has up until I believe the middle to end of June to sign the bills. If he doesn't sign them, they just go in and become law regardless. He's either sign them, doesn't sign them, become law, or vetoes them, they don't become law. So the hope is that the governor will be signing all 4 of these bills. I don't see why they wouldn't. They all pass unanimously out of both chambers, the House and the Senate. I don't really see how I don't know how one could could want to fight any of those pieces of legislation. And with regard to appropriations, I was able to get 3 projects in the budget, and one was on septic sewer, one's mental health first aid, and another one was another sewer extension. Septic sewer is a big issue around our state, especially around Lake Okeechobee, and having seepage of sewer into our water system and creating more toxins for us to possibly ingest, and we want to prevent that from happening, or it could be exacerbate the algae plume in the summers. So if we can reduce the amount of sewer leakage or septic leakage by installing sewer, I think we all win. So that's really the legislative update with regard to what happened in the 2020 session. Now, I know there's been a lot of concern with regard to COVID-19, whether it's a mental health issue, whether it's a job issue, could be both. I mean, if someone has become furloughed and now they psychologically had a negative impact on them, where am I going to get help for my job or my small business? Where can I get tested? I've got symptoms. I don't know if I should go to the hospital, or where can I get tested? But we're weekly. We've had weekly calls with the delegation, Palm Beach County delegation, with all the House members and the Senate members, with Palm Beach County and the county administrators, and Dr. Alonzo, who's the county MD, I presume. She's been running basically the healthcare portion of those calls. Before I go on anymore, is there any questions that you would like to want me to address?
Yes, please.
Julio? You're muted. You're still muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Liz, I think you have the list of some of the questions that were being asked by the participants.
Yes, sir. With your permission, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. David Silvers, representative of District 87. Thank you again for being so kind to our community. And yes, mental health is now an issue that impacts every family with all the stress, the social distancing, the financial burdens placed on everyone. So the first question that came in is, what can we expect in terms of additional testing sites in Palm Beach County? I don't know if you have information that you'd like to share on that particular point.
Yeah, by the way, you did cut out a little bit on my end. You mentioned testing sites. Was that what
in Palm Beach County, yes. What is the current status so that we can all have some peace of mind?
Okay, thank you. All right, so currently we've actually have quite a few testing sites here in Palm Beach County. The 2 largest sites are the 15 Ballpark in West Palm Beach, which is just north of District 87, and there's at the South County Civic Center down in Delray Beach. Those are the 2 main testing facilities or sites in Palm Beach County, but there are currently 45 testing sites in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County Healthcare District in Belle Glade, There's Palm Beach County Healthcare District in Jupiter, and then there's another Palm Beach County Health District location in Delray Beach. You can go to floridadisaster.org/COVID-19/testing-sites/ to get for the full list of all the testing sites. But there are quite a few. You have to call ahead and make an appointment. And you can go to my Facebook page at Rep David Silvers. We've posted information there quite frequently with regard to testing sites, phone numbers, contact information in order to book an appointment to get tested.
Perfect. And what we'll do, given the time limitations of this town hall meeting, which we only have 5 minutes remaining, we will take the questions in, forward them to your office, and continue the dialogue. So Julio, at this time, we would like to bring you on for your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you, Representative Silvers, for joining us and giving us that update. And I do echo what Laz mentioned on the mental health. I mean, which is always has been an issue, and unfortunately, I would say times 20 going through this COVID-19 now. So appreciate your leadership on that behalf. And so to everyone out there, I mean, we're keeping the lines of communications open via technology and Zoom. We're scheduling Senator Rubio, waiting on some dates on his availability. Lieutenant Governor Nunez as well. We'll be doing another town hall meeting with Representative Plasencia and Representative Toledo in Tampa shortly. So just obviously we'll keep you updated via social media on those upcoming dates. But again, everyone be safe. Let's maintain the lines of communications open. We're here to help as much as we can. And if we can't help you or don't have that answer, we promise that we will do our best to get that answer for you guys. So thank you again to Ola TV, David Silvers, Laz, of course, appreciate your leadership as always. So we'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Can I just add one last thing?
Yes.
Okay, two very quick things. Enterprise, there was a question that was posed earlier. We spoke about it, Julio. Enterprise Florida will be suspending initial fees through its microfinance guarantee program to support Florida small business, the small business community. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's a good start. And then when it comes to mental health, I'm actually hosting a mental health town hall later today. For those in attendance online, if you would like to participate, you should go to my at Rep David Silvers on Facebook. It's going to be with Kathleen Moore, the Executive Director of the Florida Mental Health Institute at USF in Tampa, as well as Sharon LaRue, the President and CEO of 211 here in Palm Beach County, and Robin Russo, the lead mental health counselor at Palm Beach State College. It's going to be focused on mental health and focused on college students. And a lot of college students who are graduating this year are missing out on a lot of opportunities, graduation, and or the job market's really just not there that it was 3 months ago. So we're going to be addressing a lot of those issues that are impacting those students.
awesome.
That will be at 2 p.m. today.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Alrighty. Is that a wrap, Laz?
That's a wrap.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in
All right.
touch. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.